Let's take a look at Gamestrap 5.0 New Color tab. The column on the left is now made out of color groups. A color group is made out of colors that define a UI or game element in your project, such as a button, panel, list, character, prop in the scene, or more. You can easily create a group here on the list and see the details by just selecting it. Color groups are elements in your project, so as such, you'll have to plan out what elements you'll need. Let's take a look at this example UI. Here we'll have 6 different color groups, which are the achievements and ranking icons, the logo, the play button, these default menu buttons, the background, and lastly, we have this small label at the bottom. Let's start with a simple color group, which is the logo. You can add any color group by pressing the plus button on the list. Then, let's select the color group and name it accordingly. Now, let's assign the type of UI it is. In this case, it's a simple image. Let's test it by selecting the logo game object, changing the color temporarily, and applying it. Next up are the icons. So, let's create the icon color group and assign the UI type to button, since the icons have a button component attached to them. Here, you'll notice that the color list in this group changed. It changed to the color transitions of the button. Gamestrap is smart enough to pre-fill the colors you might need depending on the UI type you are defining. As a side note, you can use the button tool next to the color picker if you need to find a new color. The tool can suggest a set of random colors. It can also generate colors based on color theory algorithms using the current color you have selected in the field. And lastly, it lists the current UI colors we're using in the scene. Alright, now that we have the icons working, we'll head to the Play Now button group. There is one new thing about this. This game object has a child, and that child is a label. Let's create the color group, assign its UI type to button, and set the correct colors. Notice that if I apply the color, it will only change the button, but not the child. If you want to include the child, then add the text type in the UI types field. Notice that the new color shows up in the color list. This will only work for the first child of any game object, and you can use it for both the text and image components. Let me finish up creating the rest of the color groups by doing the exact same thing we've been doing throughout the video. The setup will help you apply colors to simple UI types, which is great, but Gamestrap also comes with a nice new feature which are called nested color groups. Let's look at the panel color group that I've created. As you can see in the hierarchy, this actually contains all of the UI I'm currently handling. So with the nested color groups, we can actually include those groups in the panel group. The way this works is that it will look in the children of the selected object to see if it has any of the color groups you've assigned to it. If I apply it, notice that all of the buttons turn blue, which is great since you can create complex hierarchies to get very nicely generated color assignments. Just remember, the order of the color groups is the order that the colors get applied to. The only thing we need to figure out now is a way to distinguish color groups with the same UI type, such as the buttons, as you can see. A simple way to do it is through the Unity tag system. You can create your own tags and apply them to the game objects you want to distinguish. Once you have done that, you can then set the tag in the color group, and then it will only apply the color group to any game object with the specific tag. Another way to do it is through regular expressions. This is more complex but can be very powerful. Here, I've made sure to name all of my UI elements very carefully. In the tool, I'll define a regex or regular expression pattern to match the specific name of the game object. The default buttons don't need to have a regex because they're gonna be the standard ones. We've included a button that redirects you to the Microsoft Quick Reference website on the .NET regular expressions in C#. Now, as a final feature, in the tool you can switch modes by pressing the button on the top right. Here you'll be able to quickly apply colors to your scene by just pressing on the color groups. You can also dock the windows somewhere in your editor layout easily. The color tab can be very simple to use as well as powerful depending on your workflow and needs. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask us, and I appreciate you watching the video. Thanks.